The problem is in the code. We can't rely on the goodness of folks like Brittany, who are true leaders. But unfortunately, the code is what sets the incentive. We've got to change the incentive.
So what does changing the code look like? What actually in practice would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's going to take years. But whether that's a soft fork with the community going along with this necessary change, knowing there's a crisis here, or it's a hard fork that is driven by kind of a younger generation of people that are going to be more dialed into the problem. But what we've got to do, and so this is the thing I think that's very different from Ethereum. Obviously, it's switching the proof of stake. I actually believe it would be a lost opportunity if Bitcoin changed to proof of stake, because it does have what Brittany represents, this incredibly entrepreneurial, powerful mining industry, which is not the problem, right? The problem is they're being incented to do the wrong thing, which is burn as much energy as possible. What if you could incent them with a change in the code that says, hey, work in proof of work is not burning energy for all these guesses, but rather maybe creating renewable energy you're pushing into the grid. And based on how many joules of renewable energy you make, you get a higher chance of getting that reward or proposing the new ledger. Or maybe it was based on direct air capture. The more molecules of CO2 you captured, the more odds you're going to get that reward or be able to propose the new state of the ledger. That would now completely flip the script.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have Chris Larsen working on the NWO's agenda. And we know it's the Rockefeller'S, moving away from oil over to clean energy. And we know the central banks are pushing this agenda. And Chris Larsen is nothing but a puppet, using the Hegelian dialectic. We know Bitcoin is not going to change its code. We already see miners moving over to clean energy. But guys, we know Bitcoin is for what? The robots, algorithms, and drones. For the fourth industrial revolution. And who's going to be controlling the fourth industrial revolution? That's right, China and the BRICS nations. We hear Chris G and Carlo talking about surveillance, programmable money, but guys, that's what they want globally. It's not just China. This 2030 agenda was set up a long time ago. The fall of America to Babylon, along with the fall of the US dollar, and the rise of China, the dragon, with that digital yuan backed by that digital SDR. Now we have Mike Novogratz says the SEC was in BlockFi and Celsius office before the downturn. And we know he's exactly right. Guys, I was telling you, warning you what the Fed was going to do last year. So we know for a fact these finance guys knew it was going to be a shrinking of liquidity. Why did this have to happen? Because then they can play the Hegelian dialectic. Remember, the NWO caused the problem. Wait for the reaction, run in with the solution. Now that we have Luna went down, now that we have BlockFi, Celsius, it's don't trust this system. We have something better, and it's going to be coming from the central banks. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, well, look, China, as I said, has already put their digital yuan into 250 million wallets. Now, the amount in those wallets is, by what we can read and understand, is relatively small. So I would call what China's doing is a very large pilot project, but still very much in the pilot stage. There's a lot more to go. But believe it or not, there's features in the Chinese digital yuan that's quite advanced. I mean, it's programmable, it's networkable into all kinds of devices, from mobile phones to smaller, mobile wristwatches, as well as networked into their broader commercial activity, into the broader economy. It's quite sophisticated, and it's also sophisticated in another area that we in Western free societies might not like, in terms of its ability to perform surveillance and censorship of the activities of China's citizens. But that's actually an attribute that a lot of countries around the world that don't have free societies would actually like to have and would like to import. You can envision a world 10 years from now where a third of the globe is actually using either the digital yuan because they're engaged with China in its Belt and Road Initiative and are required to use digital yuan, or their ECNY as they call it, or the many authoritarian regimes around the world that would like that surveillance capability, would like that censorship capability, and would like that ability to move on rails outside of the Western-dominated banking system. So while China's current stage at 250 million wallets may be seen as the world's largest pilot project, within 10 years, you could see Chinese CBDC technology and infrastructure in place in as much as a third of the globe. And I think that is truly something that the United States and Europe and Britain and the free economies, the free societies need to take notice of. In terms of the questionable business practices, even management themselves seems to be admitting that they've made some bad moves, some bad decisions. Bad decisions is endemic to business, unfortunately, right? We still live in a world run by humans, not by machines. And in fact, the promise of crypto is that we'll move more of that decision making to algorithms away from human discretion. But it's endemic to all business enterprises and not specific to crypto. So that the first point I would make there for those who might want to pick on the poor decisions as an indictment of crypto. Whenever you've got humans and business, you're going to have mistakes, and this company seems to be ready to admit their fair share of them. Whether they go beyond bad decisions over into the realm of perhaps wrongful activity, that remains to be seen. But bad business decisions is just unfortunate fact of life in all walks of business, not endemic to crypto by any means.
The regulator, you can ask Jay, they have a tough job. The SEC under Gensler was in the offices of both BlockFi and Celsius, right? They had already made a settlement with BlockFi. But they were allowing these institutions to take a huge amount of leverage, take retail deposits in, gamble them like they were hedge funds. And so, I don't know what the SEC should have done or could have done or might have done, but they didn't do a lot to protect the retail investor in those two organizations when they were in their offices.
Powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis, whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, We have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.